Welcome, it's Kyle Babcock with Inside the Ivy on Sports Report Radio. On the phone, here's a guy that's a lefty in the Chicago Cubs organization, guy that's a pitcher. He's been successful in the minor leagues. We expect him to be in the major leagues one day soon. Jack Patterson, welcome to Inside the Ivy on Sports Report Radio.
Thank you very much for having me. This is awesome. This is a really cool opportunity. I'm really psyched for it. So thank you again for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. Hey, Jack, before we kind of get into who you are a little bit, let's talk about your career a little bit with the Cubs. And obviously the people listening to this are Cubs fans. Last year was kind of unique. You were in South Bend, you're in Myrtle Beach, and Tennessee. I mean, that's kind of unique pitching in all three of those fairly quickly, isn't it, in 1 year?
Yeah, I definitely didn't envision any of that happening. I was, going into the season, I was just telling myself, see if I can get up to Myrtle Beach by the end of the year and see what happens. And then, once I didn't make a roster at a spring training, got put in extended, and just kind of took that month and just really kind of tried to redevelop myself as a pitcher. And I was able to add a couple mile an hour with my fastball, and just kind of really focused and tried to see how much better as a player I could get in that month, and I really benefited from it. And then obviously got to South Bend, and it kind of took off from there. But yeah, never in a million years would I have imagined having that kind of year. It's something I'll never forget. I'm super grateful for it. But I also don't think I would have had that year had I not spent that month in extended. So obviously I didn't want to be there when I got put in there, but at the end of the day, I think it was the right move for me, and I think it allowed me to have the season that I had.
So Jack, that's a really good thought. Is a lot of young guys come in, they get out there extended spring training out there at Mesa. I mean, beautiful facility. I mean, how much better a facility can you have there in Mesa? My goodness.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and being in extended too, I got to see, and I played in rookie ball, so I got to see a majority of the Arizona spring training facilities, and the Cubs one is cream of the crop. It's the best one.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we usually go out to spring training with the last few years. Then this year we're getting ready to go out. I mean, here we are going to leave on this past Sunday. Jack, what happened? How you were out there? I mean, how did they let you guys know what went on? I mean, emails, calls, or how unique was that spring training was ending?
Yeah, it was crazy, and it was one of those things where it was definitely in the back of my head, hey, the world, our country is being faced with this terrible virus, and it was in the back of my head what was going on, but I never, when I first heard about it, never thought that it would be, it would be sending me back to Connecticut in what was supposed to be the middle of spring training. And then all of a sudden I remember the Rudy Gobert diagnosis happened.
Right.
And then, right when that happened, it was kind of holy crap, this is obviously a lot bigger than sports. And I remember a couple of my buddies were planning on going to the Coyote game the next night. And then the NHL got postponed. And then, from there, it was just trying to think, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? I mean, you see all these other major sports canceling. You're thinking hey, well, the baseball season's still a month or two away. Maybe we stay out here. And then, I just think with what happened over in Asia and what unfolded the past week in Europe, I just think America had no choice. We had to shut everything down. And, obviously I wish I could still be playing right now, but, I wasn't mad about the decision or anything. I totally understood it. This is something that's way bigger than sports right now. So I just think it was the best course of action, and hopefully, everyone does what we're being told to do, and we can kind of slow this thing down and get back out there a little quicker. But yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I really don't remember 9/11, but I can't really remember a moment for me as polarizing in the media just with this past week. I just felt like I was glued to my phone, refreshing Twitter, just checking anything to figure out what was going on. I can't remember a time in my life where that's been the case.
I'm with you, Jack. I mean, it's kind of a unique situation with no sports. I mean, I turned on today. I was watching on MLB. I was watching the recap of the 1978 Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees today. I mean, it was like how crazy, and we cover a wide variety of sports. But Jack, let's talk a little bit about yourself. I mean, kind of who is Jack Patterson? What makes you tick? Kind of where you're from, how you got to the Cubs, and let's talk a little bit about yourself. So fill in our listeners a little bit about Jack Patterson.
Yeah, I definitely. It's from a small town in Connecticut, right on the Massachusetts border. I actually grew up in a pretty unique situation because both of my parents, my dad is the athletic director at a boarding school called Suffield Academy, which is right in the town I live in. And then my mom is also a faculty member at the school, and they have been since before I was born. So I was definitely in a really unique situation. It's like, I grew up on this boarding school campus from forever. Like, this is the only place I've known. This is the only place I've lived is,
sure,
on this school campus. So, ever since a little age, like I remember, for me, soccer was always my big sport growing up. Actually wasn't really ever baseball until I got to high school. So, growing up, I remember, I think, starting when I was like 7 or 8, I was, out every day practicing with the boys varsity soccer team and just taking it all in. And, for me, I come from a sports family. Both my parents played at Assumption College. So it was just, for me, growing up, it was just sports 24/7. Mainly soccer. I'm from a big soccer town. But yeah, definitely a really unique situation. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Suffield Academy for free because my parents worked there, and just the opportunities that they have been able to provide me through Suffield and everything. It's been really unique and just really amazing. So it's been fun.
One of the top, people that understand this, that's one of the top prep schools or schools or boarding schools in the country, isn't it? I mean, I've heard of that.
Yeah, definitely a little different for me looking in because this is all I've known. But yeah, no, it's definitely a very prestigious boarding school. I mean, we have guys like Christian Wilkins was a recent grad, star defensive tackle for the Dolphins, and Vinny Del Negro, back in the '80s.
Sure.
So it's been a history. The school's had a history of just always, having really top athletes. They never really had a baseball player crack the professional ranks. So I'm just fortunate enough that I was able to be the first, and just trying to, make the most of it and try and get to the bigs one day, and do it for myself, for my family, and everyone. And so.
Well, Jack, how do you transition from a soccer player, skill set of soccer player, to a baseball player? You grew up playing soccer. I mean, what is it? Just the competitive nature of sports, or did somebody say, "Hey, Jack, you can be a really good pitcher. Or you should really try baseball"? How did that kind of come to you from being?
Yeah, it kind of all came down to the fact that I was lefty. And then I kind of, around sophomore year of high school started, getting on the mound and throwing. And my hitting coach actually was the one who sat me down. I was like, hey, listen, I know you come in and see me every week to hit, but I think you should be coming in every week and seeing our pitching guy because I think that's where your future is. That was around my sophomore year of high school. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely really weird for me when I first started focusing on baseball because all I knew was soccer, and so all I knew from a competitive standpoint was just go, go, go. I mean, soccer is a very fast-paced game. Sure. There's no stoppages. It's just go, go, go all the time. So when I transitioned to baseball, I think at first I really leaned towards being a position player just because I felt like that's where the most action was for me. And so I definitely think when I started pitching, that was my biggest struggle transitioning, was just the fact that this game is probably going to last 3 hours, but you might only see a combined total of 5 to 6 minutes of action.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
oh yeah.
So, and I still deal with that. You know what I mean? I think being a pitcher is one of the most stressful things to do in the world of sports, and that's something I still deal with today. I still get nervous every time before I pitch, and I mean, I think being a pitcher is a very unique thing because it's a sport, but it's not very active. It's not very fast paced like other things. So I think it's definitely a learning curve I had to go through, figuring out how to deal with that stress and that nervousness of leading up to it, where as in soccer, you could just step on the field and go run for 90 minutes and then that was it.
Hey, Jack, with your soccer background, I remember a guy that one of our friends that we used to see in South Bend a few years ago got traded, Raleigh Lacey. When Raleigh was starting, he was a fast pitcher, okay? I don't mean fast in speed, I mean in miles per hour, but you knew the game was going to get over quick because he got the ball, he threw it, got it over. Are you, because of soccer, are you a guy that gets up there and wants to get the inning over or not? Or is that
yeah, I am. That's all I try to do is just get in there as quick as possible. I'd try to get the ball and get on the mound and just pitch. And I don't do that just because I don't want to be out there. It's more of just kind of, I feel like the more time a hitter can get comfortable in the box, obviously the better he's going to feel. So for me, it's just like when I get the ball, I want to pitch as quickly as possible just to ruin timing and mess with it.
Well,
but yeah, that's definitely a big thing for me. It's just, I think anything to give yourself the upper advantage. I mean, if the hitter wants to sit in there and dig in and get comfortable, then when I get the ball, I'm going to try and get rid of it as quickly as possible.
I like that attitude. That's a really good attitude. Nobody's ever told me that in the past. And, as soon as you said that connected. As soon as you said that, and I'm sure the listeners that listen to this, they're going to think, well, yes, those pitchers want to get these guys out. They don't want somebody dug in there and, as a hitter. So really, really good intel on that. I really like that, Jack. That's really cool. Great answer for there.
Yeah, and I've definitely ran into problems before of, guys catching on to it and then, trying to call time. And I've had umpires, having to rip off their mask and yell at me to say, slow it down and stuff. But, I mean, it's not like I'm trying to be a jerk about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just me trying to compete and get you out and be better than you. And that's just one of my tactics I use. I don't think, it's frowned upon or anything, but I definitely run into instances where umpires haven't taken too kindly to it. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's just the game. And,
I mean, it's your makeup. Yeah. Obviously, with soccer, you grew up doing that, and I mean, it certainly makes sense. So Jack, starter, reliever, you've done both. What do you prefer to do? I mean, what's your specialty, or do you just kind of rely on the Cubs and the talent, the scouts, and the professionals?
I mean, for me, I'll do whatever starter, reliever. I mean, anything that obviously at the end of the day will help whoever I'm with, whether it be Tennessee, whoever I'm with, whatever, at the end of the day will help them win, but also like whatever's going to help me get to the big leagues. If I'm a starter right now and the Cubs see me as a reliever, if that's my best shot to get to the big leagues and help the Cubs at a major league level, then it'll be a reliever. But I mean, if I had a choice, I would choose starter just because I think starter can have a bigger impact on the game. I think you're in control for a little bit longer, and I like the feeling of being in control with the ball on the mound. I mean, the game doesn't start until you throw the ball. So I like that, and I like that as a starter because you get more opportunities to do that. Whereas if you're a reliever, you might be only going 1, 2, 3 innings. So from that standpoint, I would say starter. But at the end of the day, anything to help the Cubs out and keep me moving up, I'm up for anything.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be accepted in MLB because we want to shorten the games anyway. So get Jack Patterson on the mound, get him in there, and we'll get this game over. We'll get it in there and get a W in the column.
Quick game, as long as I don't give up too many hits.
Yeah, so, hey, Jack, let's finish up with this, and I appreciate you taking so much time out of your evening to do this, but what's it like for you to put on that Cubs jersey? I mean, this is iconic franchise, just like you grew up on the East Coast, you got the Yankees, you got the Red Sox, I mean, the Cubs, iconic franchise, and you're thinking, how many people have worn this jersey, Chicago Cubs, through the years? What does that mean to you to be a Chicago Cub, just the history with the Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think it's amazing. I think the Chicago Cubs, just from my experience as a professional baseball player, they're a first-class organization. But, I mean, growing up, I try not to say this, and I'm going to, listeners should take this with a grain of salt, but growing up, my dad and I were diehard Met fans.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I kind of, I was really grateful for that, honestly, even though I'm a Cub now, because, this started when I was 2, 3 years old. I fell in love with the Mets, and in doing so, I fell in love with the game of baseball, and I've been in love with it ever since. So, I'm really thankful that he instilled that in me from a very early age. But just being a Cub, it's unbelievable. I just remember, I mean, obviously being a Mets fan when I was younger, we didn't win any World Series, but I remember watching the 2016 World Series. I was in college at Bryant still. I was with all my roommates, and I just remember you know, when that ground ball with Chris Bryant, he throws up across the diamond, like, I was so excited. I was like, why am I excited? Like, I'm not a Cubs fan. But, like, just what they had to go through as a franchise. And then, you know, they turn around and win the World Series. And then, their World Series was like, or the World Series parade was like the top 10 largest gathering in human history.
Yes.
Like, you have championship parades every year in all sports, and you never see that. So I just think the Cubs are just such a unique and historical franchise that just the fact that I can call myself a Chicago Cub minor leaguer, I think is very cool. And, you know, I've only played for one organization out of the 30, but I think I lucked out and got the right one.
No, that's great. And to hear you say that, not even being a Cubs fan back before you were with the organization, just to see the great history, it shows that sports does matter in society, and good actually wins out over evil all the time. And what a great story. What a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jack, you've been awesome, man. I learned a lot about you. We hope to catch up with you sometime. We hope to see you either at Tennessee, maybe at Iowa, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean, maybe you'll be in the big leagues at the end of the year. You never know. I mean, it's, you know, lefties are a commodity, you know, that's just hard to come by, and maybe you're in there mowing guys down, you know, real soon at Wrigley. We certainly look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. That's what we're working towards. But, you know, we'll see. Right now, it's just getting back on the field, honestly. So.
Well, Jack, take care of yourself, man. You've been awesome. You've been a fantastic interview. I couldn't ask for a better person. You know, here's a guy that took time out of his schedule. I know you're training. You got to stay fresh, not knowing when the season's going to start. But Jack Patterson, thanks so much for talking to us for Inside the Ivy on obviously the Sports Report Radio Network. Thank you so much, Jack. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much, Kyle. This was awesome. I would love to do it again, for sure.